Hey guys, and welcome to the 6th episode of the Speak for Your Nation project. Today we'll be discussing the Syrian civil war, which has cost the lives of thousands. This war has brought in various interventions, one of them, the Russians. Hearing their perspective, and because of that he's with us today, a Russian national, Maksim Sitnikov, who will share with us the policy, the thoughts, and the actions of the Russian Federation.
First of all, thank you for inviting me to the Speak for a Nation project and an opportunity to talk on behalf of Russian Federation. The main reason of Russian involvement into a Syrian conflict is to help Syrian legitimate government to regain the control over the country. Another reason is to eliminate the terrorism on its growing stage. As you might know, Russia is a multinational country, and there are many Muslims, particularly in the southern regions. Hence, the terrorism is a huge threat for the Russian Federation, and especially those regions. However, the real reason is a bit different. It's not just about geopolitics, it's also about the global influence. In my opinion, Russia just wants to maintain the regime of Assad in the country. In case of the change of the regime, there will be a huge economic externalities for Russian Federation. The fact is that Qatar wants to build an oil pipe through Syria to Europe. And since Europe is one of the biggest consumers of Russian oil, Russia will lose a huge market. Moreover, I can say that Russia wants world society to attract attention to a different problem rather than the Ukrainian issue.
Russian efforts in the war, particularly bombing, have cost the lives of many civilians. How do Russians reconcile with this fact?
Government officials say that Russian Federation is not bombing any civil objects and cities, and that all of the airstrikes are discriminatory, meaning that they are well planned and aim to attack only terrorist objects. However, for Russian Federation considers Syrian opposition as terrorists as well as ISIS soldiers. In my opinion, any civil victims during the civil war is a huge disaster, especially in the case of foreign involvement.
Only a few days ago, a ceasefire was signed, which includes all parties except ISIS and Al-Qaeda. How do you think this will affect the conflict, and do you think it's the right step in the right direction?
I think that it's an important step towards the peace in Syria. It was hard to organize this agreement because there are more than 170 organizations, which some of them are terroristic, some of them opposition parties, but in fact this agreement will lead to different aid programs and will attract many different foreign investors, which might help in future to rebuild the Syrian infrastructure. However, the fact is that parties agree just on not shooting and not fighting against each other, and big countries such as US coalition and Russia will continue to bomb terroristic objects.
In 10 years, looking back in hindsight, how do you think the world and Russia will look back at Russia's actions in this war?
The conflict is very complex. Unless many countries have the interest in this war, it will not be over. The main interest of Russian Federation, as I said before, is to maintain the Assad regime. However, I understand that in 10 years, the situation will most probably change. And people will look at the role of Russian Federation as just an attempt to postpone the end of Assad's regime.
Well, that was it for today, ladies and gentlemen, hearing the Russian perspective about his intervention in the Syrian civil war. With us today, Maksim, who is a Russian national himself, and for that we thank him very much. And we'd like to bring your attention to all the social media pages of this project. Don't forget to like us, share us, and of course rate us. And with that being said, tune in to the next episode, which will be continuing about the same matter, but through a different perspective. See you later.